Now, I'm going to move fast today because I have a lot to cover and I got a lot to unpack for you. So you guys buckle up and move with me. Some of the businesses we own, some of the coaches we have that we help entrepreneurs with today. But I want to get to the meat of this. This is the RISE business framework. This is what we're going to use to power wealthy business. Me, Brandon, Susan, Austin, and the rest of my team spent a lot of time over the last couple of years developing this curriculum and this framework for a business entrepreneur to scale properly. I want to talk to you a little bit about it, but before I do, I want to talk to you about you. Because everybody wants things that are going to help them scale. They want the system that helps them scale. But the truth is, after coaching now over 1,500 businesses, been doing this for 21 years, I find one of the major reasons why we don't grow properly is we cap our businesses at our 100%. We become a single point of failure in our own company. If you were to ask me, why is Ryan successful? How has he moved so fast? It's because he's figured out what he's great at and then lets other people do the things he's not. That's what leadership's about. It's about getting things done through other people. I'm passionate about leadership. 25 years of leading and managing people. Corporate America, I felt, breeds management, but not leadership. I left corporate America in 2011. I realized something. I was a good manager, but not a good leader. So I went on a journey to chase what that looks like, and I wanted to make sure that I did it properly. And I realized that leaders love people. Managers love process. You say, well, I don't know that I love process. Are you doing it every day? Are you in the grind? Then you like it. You're the one that's making it happen every day. That's the process. Leaders love the people that can make that happen. The key to leading starts with leading you. One of the hardest people to lead is you. You know, I can charge somebody $30,000 to $50,000 to come into their business if I tell them that it's their process and their people that are the problem. As soon as I tell them that they're the problem, it's crickets. I can't even get them to pay $150 to come to a webinar or a seminar to work on themselves. Really important, you understand what kind of leader you are. In order to do that, I want to run through some questions, and I want you to self-assess with me here. What type of leader are you? Are you a great leader, or are you a not-so-great leader? What does that look like? What does a not-so-great leader look like? Well, a great leader or a not-so-great leader creates confusion. They tell you what to do, but why it's not important, or when it's not important. They also never have time for their employees. A not-so-great leader micromanages people. A not-so-great leader puts themselves first. It's my way or the highway. It's all about me. I always tell the people I help, it's not about you. It's about why we do what we do. And if it's not in the best interest of the business, then we're not doing it. A not-so-great leader lives in the moment. They work in their business, instead of taking time to work on the business. A not-so-great leader is inconsistent. They communicate it's my way or the highway. They overuse email and texting. They also hold ineffective meetings. They call got-a-minute meetings that last hours and sometimes filled with little resolution. A not-so-great leader frequently reviews performance of their people. They give you feedback one time a year and leave you guessing the other 364 days. Not-so-great leader rarely shows appreciation. They don't say thank you. They don't say job well done. So if that's what a not-so-great leader looks like, what does a great leader look like? I would assume it's a little bit of the opposite, right? Not-so-great leader, when we want to become a great leader, we communicate our expectations. We make time for our teams. We take our personal time and show attention to them. We're not distracted by our phones and taking phone calls in the middle of conversations and walking out of meetings. A great leader empowers people. They expect you to do what you were hired to do and empower you to do that. You know, great people that don't feel empowered won't stay with you. They will leave. Good swimmers jump ship. It's our job as leaders to empower people to do the things we've hired them to do. A great leader puts the organization first. They take time to focus. And focus is important. Guys, if you want to be successful as an entrepreneur, you better learn the art of focus. Focus stands for something. Follow one course until successful. That's what it stands for. Follow one course until successful. Stop trying to be good at everything. Get great at something first. Then start piling on the others. A great leader is consistent. They explain exactly what is expected. They don't get irritated when you ask for clarifying questions. That's what a great leader does. Ask yourself the question, which one am I? Am I a great leader? Am I a not so great leader? Great leaders pick up the phone or stop by. They don't avoid that face-to-face contact. They hold effective meetings that are scheduled, that have a purpose, a desired outcome, and a time frame that helps them be successful as a leader. A great leader reviews what's working and what's not working. They are not afraid of the voice of the customer. They're not afraid of the voice of the employee. They want to improve. They want to get better. They are seeking that feedback. A great leader says thank you. You know, 67% of the people that quit their job in the Great Resignation quit it because of the lack of emotional paycheck. They said, it's not about the money. It's about the emotional paycheck. You know, when you hire someone, you pay them two different ways, financially and emotionally. When you do not give the emotional paycheck, you will pay more. It's really effective to make sure that you understand what that emotional paycheck is for them. Great leaders understand where the business is and how to rise up to its 100%. They're leading the charge. You know, the Titanic sunk because the leader was counting dinner plates instead of looking out to where it was in front of them. Where are you at in your business today? Are you counting dinner plates? Or are you leading your business properly? Anyone can steer the ship, but it takes a leader to chart a course. Navigation requires a vision. Navigation requires understanding not only the future, but also the past and where we're at, where we're coming from. In order to navigate for other people, you must know the way, show the way, and then actually get up and go that way. That's a John Maxwell statement. One of the best leadership coaches I've ever met. It's important that you lead that charge. A business operating system empowers you to do that. It helps you lead your business in any stage you're in. However, as a leader, you better know what stage that is. Now, I'm about ready to open the fire hose for you. So get back and sit back. I'm going to open what a business operating system looks like and what we're about to do here. There's a life cycle of every business. There's a framework in which it operates in. That life cycle looks like this. Every business starts with needing resources, time, money, people. Then it needs inspiration to drive those resources. That inspiration then needs to be governed by a system. And that system, when done right, empowers us to engage properly with the outside world. If you don't have the right resources, the right inspiration, the right purpose, the goals, you don't have the right system, and you just start pushing it out, you're going to look like a fool to people. Your product's going to fail. Understand that going through these phases, you're going to hit a plateau as well. So resources, inspiration, systems, and engagement helps us break through that ceiling of that plateau that we go through. There was a study done in the 1960s that showed the growth of an organization. It says an organization, to reach its 100%, goes through an evolutionary period and a revolutionary period. That time of hitting a ceiling happens. You're going to get stuck in one of these areas at some point. A business operating system, when done right, helps you to grow properly. How many of you guys have ever heard the statement before, they grew too fast? That's not a true statement. It's they grew wrong. You can grow as fast as you want to as long as you do it right. Ryan's a good testimonial to that. It's been pretty fast. You don't usually see a business rise up in 3 years like he has. But he's done it right. And he continues to do it right, which allows him to move at the right speed. These plateaus look like this. The first one is a resource. We hit this plateau, we get the wrong people, we don't manage it properly with money, and we do it sometimes at the wrong time. In order to overcome that plateau, we have to have tools. These are the tools that we're looking in this phase to make sure we have in our businesses. Talent optimization, talent accountability, team development, managing your finances. Talent optimization looks like this: a behavioral assessment of the right people, skills assessment, mobility assessment, and values assessment. We need the right people sitting in the right seats in organizations. Next, team development, recruit, hire, having the right system to hire it on board, develop and evaluate your employees, encourage and recognize those employees, making sure that we're giving that emotional paycheck properly. Our systems allow us to have accountability, organizational charts and process charts, and success planning and process commitments that we're looking for from every company and every employee and every resource. We also need to manage our finances properly. One of the biggest areas I see that are detrimental to an entrepreneur today is they don't create a pro forma before they launch a product. They don't create the budget off that pro forma. They don't measure it monthly with a P&L that shows whether or not they hit the budget. And more importantly, they don't do a variance report of why they were over and under in each GL code to manage their business properly. It's important to have those tools in order to rise up and overcome that plateau of resources. We also have to overcome the plateau of inspiration. When we feel stuck, we got the right people in the right seats, we're making money, but it just doesn't feel good. It's not right yet. And that inspiration has to be layered on. And inspiration looks like this. It looks like having the right leadership in your team. You're learning to lead, not just manage. Long-term culture, short-term vision. What does this look like? Leadership, management versus leadership. The approval quadrant, leadership accountability, leadership process assessment. Like, are we growing as leaders, and how are we measuring that? We're also looking for the right culture. You know, culture is pretty interesting. Everybody wants a good culture. Culture comes from 4 areas. Number 1, it comes from values alignment. If you want to protect your relationships in life, whether it's personal or professional, align in values, align in purpose, align in goals, and make sure you have a good understanding of what position you're holding in that relationship. I've been married 25 years. I've had 2 kids. My relationships that I've had in my life, I want to make sure that I'm sitting and supporting those relationships with the right position. There's a good understanding of what my role is and how I support that relationship. We need the right culture, personally, professionally. We need long-term vision that measures the past success, the present situation, and the future state, and has a key purpose indicator that measures that purpose that we need. We also need short-term vision, 3-year milestones, 1-year targets, 90-day sprints, and the 4 to focus. That's what we need in order to have the right inspiration in our businesses. I know I'm unpacking a lot here for you. There's a reason for that in a minute. The number 3 here is we hit the plateau of having the wrong systems in our company. What does it look like? What tools do we need? We need process mapping. We need effective meetings. We need the right KPIs. We need to know what our business pipeline looks like. Within that, we need to know why we're process mapping. We need to know what we're doing it, when we're doing it, and how we're doing it. I always tell people processes are what we do, procedures are how we do it, policy is when we do it, which drives productivity for your company. So many of you guys create the process without the procedure, and you have employees that are confused. Some of you create the procedures without the process, and you don't lean it out and get rid of the waste before you move it on to procedures. And then you never tell them what the expectations of the process is with policies. We also need the right KPIs. There are 4 major KPIs in your business that you should be measuring. Number 1, purpose indicator. What is your purpose? My purpose indicator is to give $2.6 million by 2026. That's how I measure my purpose, to do a good work that supports God's work. What is your profit indicators? How do you know monthly you're making the money to get to where you want to go, to hit the purpose? Then what are your performance indicators? What are your leaders measuring on a weekly basis to make sure that they're performing? And last, probably the most important KPI, is what is your process indicator, your daily metrics that support the activities of the process to ensure that you're doing them right every day. Because if you do it right, you start with the purpose, and you drive down to profits, and you drive down to performance. And then you take that performance number and drive it down to everyday numbers, which is a process indicator. And if you focus there, you know you'll get the performance. You know you'll make the money, and you'll know you'll hit your purpose. It's daily review in our plan. And then running effective meetings. Each one of these KPIs are tied back to a meeting, culture meetings, strategy sessions, organizational meetings, and tactical. How does all that come together? It comes together like this. You have an innovator, a visionary. You have a leader, you have a manager, and you have an employee. Your innovators are in charge of the key purpose indicator, the culture meeting, and their job is quarterly to make sure that stays alive and functioning. You have leaders in your organization that monitor the profit and make sure that we're making the money. That profit then drives the strategy every quarter for your company, and we measure that strategy every month. Then you have managers who use key performance indicators to lead the people and have organizational meetings with the leadership team, and they measure that every week. And then you have employees who are in charge of your process indicators. They have tactical meetings every day, like daily huddles and process meetings to move the company forward. And they review that daily. That's a system. We also need to know our business pipeline. We need to know what a SIPOC is: supplier, input, process, output, customer. We need to identify our cash conversion cycle so we know and we can forecast properly. We need to use our copious properly, which is customer, output, process, input systems. And we need to know how to speed up that pipeline, how to get the cash faster when needed. I don't know about you guys, but when we went through the last couple of years, there were times that I'm like, we need to infuse some cash in this business right now. And if I didn't know my cash conversion cycle and how to speed up my pipeline to get cash in the bank faster, we could have found ourselves in some bad places in some of the companies. Last ceiling is engagement. What tools do you need as a business owner to get there? Branding, advertising, marketing, and sales. You do this properly, right? You rise up with resources. You inspire those resources. You give them the right system, and now you can engage properly with your outside world. You can get the message out clearer. In this, we're looking at branding, making sure we have a good brand feel, drafting a brand guide, brand insistence, and brand management. We're also looking for marketing, identifying our consumer psychology. We're looking at writing a marketing plan. We're testing A to B from supply to our business. We're advertising. We're getting understanding our right channels and our metrics and our budgets and the consistency that returns to us. We're also looking at driving the sales of the organization with resources for sales, inspiring our teams, systems for sales, and engaging the customer properly. This is how we break through these ceilings. This is how we build a business to its maturity, to its 100%. Is by breaking through these plateaus and rising up to your 100%, to your business's full potential. How many of you guys know that Disney, right here in Anaheim, that built Disneyland was dead before Disney World was built? Walt Disney, did not build Disney World. He built a system. He rose up to where his company was going to reach its 100%, and it did it without him. And it continues to do it today by focusing on this type of model. I'm going to ask you guys with a little time I have left to assess your business as a leader. 1 to 10. Each question's in resources. 1 to 10. 1 being it doesn't exist, 10 meaning that you have it in full. We hire and manage our team using assessment tools like Predictive Index, DISC, or COBE. We have a structured, ongoing program for developing team members after they're hired. We assign ownership for each process in the business. We keep our finance records organized and clean, and we can assess them whenever we need to. I want you to score yourself. Where are you at? Possible good high score, 40. We typically see companies in the teens in this assessment. What about inspiration? We have clear defined core values. We have a distinct company culture our team members are engaged and inspired by. We have defined long-term goals that are inspiring them. We have quarterly and annual goals and commitments that we're looking to measure regularly. It's important, guys, you understand that long-term vision gives hope. Short-term vision drives results. You need them both. You need to be inspired, and your employees need to see the results in your company. How about systems? We have a documented process, procedure, and policy in our companies. We have key metrics for our employees. We're organized with weekly meetings. We're solving problems. We have a clearly understand business pipeline and what that cash conversion cycle looks like. How would you rate your company today? Some of you guys aren't writing down the answers, but I think in your stomach you can feel it. And that's okay. It can be a feeling. It doesn't have to be mathematical. What about engagement? We have a logo, a brand, consistent digital presence. We have consistent company messaging. We have effective advertising. We have a proven sales process, weekly training, and measurable success. What does that look like for your organization today? You know, I guess a lot of times that people, when they do this assessment, they rate higher in this area of engagement than they do in resources, inspiration, or systems. And boy, that's the last step. I call this step the ETR step. You've earned the right to do it. You've earned the right to put a message out there. You've earned the right to talk about your success. You've earned the right to show the world what you're about. Don't be a fake. Do it properly. These 4 and no more. This is what you need to grow your business properly. There's a lot packed into that, as you see. I wasn't trying in 25 minutes to teach you how to operate your system with a business operating system. I was trying to inform you of what you needed.